I'm here with Elia Choli and Sergio Haro. Our team mentor is Raju Surati in the audience. We're here to represent Flare. Now, Flare is a phone-based tracking system that's built on top of Android. But before we talk more about Flare, we just want to discuss a little bit of the problem that we've tried to solve. So, a few years ago, I worked at a Domino's one summer as a delivery boy. And this was my manager. His name was Mike. And like a lot of the pizzerias, our main source of revenue was from deliveries. The thing is, deliveries were so frequent that a particular delivery run that I had to make might contain 4 or 5 orders. Because the thing is, when a delivery order came in, the next delivery boy available would be assigned to that order, but if all the delivery boys were already out, you might get 3, 4, 5 orders to go on one run. This would mean that one run could take up to an hour. And now the problem for Mike is that when a customer calls and asks, "Where's my pizza?" Mike doesn't know what to say, because he doesn't know where the pizza is either. He has no efficient way of finding out. He would try to call us sometimes if it was an urgent case, but when we're driving, legally we're not even supposed to pick up the phone. Sometimes if we're actually in the act of delivering pizza, we can't pick up our phone. And so we can see this pattern in a lot of small businesses that have mobile employees that need to track those mobile employees. And so this is where Flare comes in. So now Flare is a phone-based tracking solution. It's meant for small businesses. And for what this means for Mike is now that using Android phones that his employees have, that his drivers have, he can track those drivers. And now you'll note that this means there's no extra hardware. There's no expensive GPS systems to install. There's no servers to wire up and connect everything to the employees' cars. And it turns out this is more than 10 times, this is more than 10 times cheaper than any other GPS system today. And now we take it a step further by providing a fully integrated multi-platform solution so that Mike can see these locations not just on his computer screen, but on another phone if he's on the go. And in fact, he'll be able to see it on any platform that supports HTTP. And finally, we take it a step further by providing built-in support for sharing from the start. Now what this means is that Mike can share the locations of his drivers directly to customers without needing to himself look it up and share it. Now, to better explain how the system works, we're going to see it in action. And I'm going to hand this off to Elia Choli to show it.
Thanks, Asim. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through what the different players in our scenario have to do. That's Mike and our customers and our drivers. So we begin with Mike. He comes to his administration interface. He can see one of his drivers, but he can't see Sergio right now. That means the driver would only be tracked when they want to be tracked. They have control. So Sergio comes into work. And we have Sergio on the screen. He comes in, clocks in, decides to start allow tracking. Awesome. Now, we have a customer. Ring comes in. Please, I ordered a pizza like an hour ago. Where is it? Like, yeah, right. He decides, okay, Sergio's going to make the delivery. So he creates an ID, which he can give to the customer. And there it is. So we can also note here that he can see exactly where Sergio is and he can see all his drivers. So now we go to the user, who's the customer, that's called, and we've been given an ID and a PIN, which makes it private. This user can open up Flare. If you notice, you can browse public networks, you can manage any previous IDs you have in there, you can also add new ones. This means the system can be used for a lot more than pizza tracking. You can use it for like bus tracking and small pack delivery, like UPS kind of things, but with a small business intent in mind. So here we're going to add the tracking number. This is the same thing as searching, so you don't have to enter everything, but just to show you. The order was order 25. What was it?
26.
26.
The pin is 9929.
And there we have it. Easy, simple solution. You can see exactly where your pizza is. Is it tracking right now? Yep, it's moving. You know if you have time to run down to the local 7-Eleven, pick up some stuff, come back, and still be there for your pizza. And installation is as much as just giving your driver a phone, or if they already have the phone, just installing the tracking software. Good. Also, we have a web interface for the user to use, so you don't have to use your phone. If you're at home, you can just pull up the Flair website. You can also browse and search for your different orders. Everything you can do on the phone, you can do from the web. Gives you flexibility in how you use the system. So now we've connected Mike to his drivers and his customers together. And you have peace of mind, and he doesn't have to worry a lot about where his employees are. Now I'm going to hand this over to Asim to talk about our system architecture.
Thank you. Because we kept small businesses in mind who can't afford expensive GPS systems, we also noted that they probably wouldn't be able to afford expensive server farms or server space. They wouldn't want the hassle of having to store all this data themselves and provide access to this data. So what we've done is we have a central database that manages all the data for a particular business. And we provide access to this data with the standard HTTP server that we built. And the only person who can go in and actually change this data directly is the administrator. And he does this through the web interface that you saw a minute ago. And now, in addition, we have the trackees who are on these Android phones. And they're going to be communicating to the HTTP server whenever they're being tracked. And something we kept in mind was that we want this solution to be scalable. So for example, one of the steps we've taken is that if a phone hasn't moved more than 20 meters, it's not going to send its location. The moment it moves 20 meters away from its previous location, it sends its location to the server. The server updates the database. And now, whenever the server updates the database, it'll relay this information to everybody who wants to view that location. So this could be a viewer on the phone. It could be a viewer on the web. It could be the administrator of the business, the manager, who is viewing it on the web himself. And now the thing to keep in mind is that because the solution is multi-platform, our implementation, our architecture had to take this into account and provide flexibility. Because we wanted to be able to extend this to future platforms. To future phone platforms, to future non-phone platforms, whatever you have. And the way we've done that is through the XML technology. So we're using a standard protocol to communicate between everything. And we're using remote procedure calls to connect all the platforms. And so in summary, we have Flair. That's a phone-based tracking system for small businesses that's fully integrated for multi-platform usage, and that takes it a step further by providing built-in support from sharing from the start. Thank you very much, guys. Again, my name is Asim Kishore. This is Elia Choli and Sergio Haro. Do you guys have any questions? Yes?
Have you guys thought any solution to provide how much time you need to get a pizza? Because for the end user, maybe it's more important to know how long it will take the pizza to arrive than to know where the pizza is.
That's an absolutely good question. We thought about this, and it turns out this wasn't a need for most small businesses. For example, at Domino's or any other restaurant, when you place an order, they'll give you an estimate right then based on how many orders are in the queue for a given delivery boy. And for other practical applications like bus tracking, you can't always know, how long it'll take for a bus to get here, other than what's already given on the schedule for you. So that's something that we might provide niche support for example, for specific things like taxi tracking, bus tracking. But for a general Flair architecture, we didn't do that.
Do you thought like a solution, like if you have to deliver 5 pizzas, what's the best route to take to deliver the best pizzas to optimize the time that might use?
Absolutely, that could be a great version 2 idea. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Does the tracking ID eventually expire, or could the customer, if they're irate, follow the pizza guide?
Yes, so we have support for absolutely. So we have support for a few ways to remove a tracking ID. One is on the web administrator interface, and a manager can manually delete the ID. Second, we do have an expiration time that the administrator can set optionally. So he can say, have this automatically expire 30 minutes from now. And the third, which we plan to do in version 2, is the driver who's getting tracked on his phone, he'll be able to see what tracking IDs are tracking him. At any point, he'll be able to stop that tracking ID. Yes, I believe there's another question somewhere here. Cool. Anyone else?
I think we have to stop.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Up front, if you want to come. I'm here to introduce to you my team's project.